Minister. Senator Paterson.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is for the Minister for Employment, Senator Cash. Can the Minister update the Senate on why it is important to have a zero-tolerance approach to violence and intimidation in registered organisations?
The Minister for Employment, Senator Cash.
Thank you, Mr President, and I thank the senator for the question. On this side of the chamber, we absolutely believe that Australians deserve nothing less than workplaces that are cooperative, productive and fair. Fairness begins with people obeying the law, and this means everyone, whether you are an employer, whether you are a union or whether you are a worker. There should be no tolerance for either rogue employers or rogue unions who break the law. Unfortunately, though, and it has recently been yet again in the press, there is one union who does believe that it is above the law. This is the union that we all know unfortunately reached a recent milestone of in excess of $10 million in fines being imposed against it for unlawful behaviour. And unfortunately, who can also remember the comments recently of Victorian CFMEU Secretary John Setka? He threatened inspectors from the Australian Building and Construction Commission that his union would, and I quote, follow them into neighbourhoods, follow them to their local footy clubs, their shopping centres and intimidate their families. Sadly, Mr President, this is not an isolated example. For example, WA CFMEU official Luke Collier has been imprisoned for 3 counts of assault and entering a premise with the intent to commit an indictable offence. He also has admitted to violent crimes against his former girlfriend. And last year he was fined for breaching industrial laws for his part in organising a strike at Barangaroo, during which he threatened a female police officer. And where, you may ask, is Mr Collier now? Well, guess what? He is currently the youth organiser for the WA branch of the CFMEU. What type of example is Mr Collier going to set?
Thank you, Minister. Senator Paterson, supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. How is the government taking a stand against such appalling behaviour?
Minister.
Well, Mr President, we restored the Australian Building and Construction Commission to tackle the thuggery and lawlessness within the building and construction sector within Australia. On this side of the chamber, in so many of our policies, we will never make an excuse for standing up for small and medium businesses, ensuring that they have a level playing field and that they cannot be bullied by big head contractors who do deals with big unions. We on this side of the chamber are very, very proud to say we support a strong and vibrant building and construction industry where small and medium employers can compete without fear of being bullied or intimidated. And why? Because a fair and vital construction industry means more jobs for Australians, and that's what we are all about.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Paterson, final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Why is it important for all parliamentarians to support these measures?
Minister.
Well, Mr President, 30 years ago, many will remember, former Prime Minister Hawke, he took the principled stand against the CFMEU's predecessor, the BLF. He actually deregistered them, a former Labor Prime Minister. And then, of course, you have former ACTU President Martin Ferguson. He's also called upon the Labor Party to sever ties with the CFMEU. Unfortunately, all we hear from those on the other side, unfortunately not Senator Cameron, is actually deafening silence. The law is there to protect honest and hard-working Australians, honest mum and dad subcontractors who cannot stand up to big head contractors and big unions, and all who have to obey the law. We all have a choice in this place. Who do you stand with? Those who bully and intimidate, or those who are bullied and intimidated?
Thank you, Minister.